Okay, I think we can start now. It's almost 3. So hello everyone. I'm Loic Castel. I'm the lead pen tester of the penetration testing team at SSL 24/7, and I lead a team of about 10 engineers dedicated to their field. So as we are penetration tester. We are also doing research, spending a bit of time doing research and continuous improvement. And we've stumbled upon the IoT subject, which we think is very interesting because it brings new perspective and new exotics environments. So technically, it has several advantages. And yeah. I think this is an interesting topic. In that presentation, we'll focus on the IoT dedicated to healthcare, which is a bit more specific than standard IoT. And the goal basically is for us to show you our results to be able to compare the security level of IoT, healthcare IoT, compared to standard IoT and compared to standard IT. So yeah, also need to specify that our team is CREST registered tester. We have a CREST registered tester, OSCP. So we're doing a lot of penetration testing. And you will see that our methodology is quite identical when we deal with IoT research. So slides are going to be sent later, and you will have time to read them later if it needs. So I'm gonna let's start with the agenda. Okay, we're gonna go really quick on explaining the healthcare IoT security overview, our methodology, what we did, why we did the research, and what we used. And we're going to spend a lot of time on case study 1 on smart breathalyser, and on case study 2, which is a smart electro stimulator. So the first case would be kind of passive attack, tampering the data sent to the mobile app. And the other would be the opposite side, will attack the IoT itself. And yeah, you will see for the demonstration. In the end, we will have time for questions, so about 5 minutes for question, and the full demonstration, the full webinar will last around between 25 and 30 minutes. Okay, so I think we can crack on. There have been previous research, of course, in the IoT field, a lot. In the healthcare IoT field, a bit less, but the main one we identified are the one listed on that slide. The one I'm going to talk about quickly is by the research done by Barnaby Jack in 2012, so 7 years ago. He demonstrated the possibility to take control of a pacemaker inside someone or outside, of course, for the demonstration outside, and basically remotely take over the control, upload malicious firmware, and being able to shut it down remotely. It was actually used in a TV show named Broken Hearts, and Jack did a blog post about it, stating that his demonstration was even simpler than the one they implemented into the TV show, just showing that it was not that complicated, but knowing the criticality of this kind of application, this is a bit. I'm scared of all that. Okay. So what are the risks? Talking about risk. The IoTs nowadays, they bring lots of stuff, lots of new functionalities, but they also bring lots of new risks that are not meant for standard objects. I didn't took time to introduce IoT, but you obviously know what it is. So if you take a toothbrush, for instance, you add smart in front of the name of the object, and it becomes a smart object, meaning it's connected to your mobile phone, for instance, and you're able to remotely interact with it. So the risks are mainly confidentiality, integrity, and availability. So data theft, the data manipulated by the IoT or by mobile app or stored on the cloud. Integrity loss. So there are a lot of action that you can do within IoT, different various actions. And if an attacker is able to tamper with that, it could mean integrity loss. And denial of service. So maybe you've heard of the botnet called Mirai. So it's one of the many botnets made of IoTs, but it's, I think, the most famous one, made of more than 1 million devices. So using each an individual internet connection, so making a lot of damages. When you translate all these risks to the medical field, to the healthcare field, you get medical data theft, personal health records theft. For your information, on the dark web, you can buy credit card number for about £10. A full medical health records is sold for about £100. So there is a market for that. Integrity loss on IoT, doing standard measures, standard health measures. You can do insurance fraud, sending fake data, modified data to the insurance company. The risks are data manipulation and critical medical tampering, as we've seen, that could lead to the worst possibility would be death. And denial of service, the risks are the same as standard IoT. But if you're able to remotely shut down a device like the pacemaker, like for the presentation of Barnaby Jack, it could also bring the worst possible risk. Okay, so a quick one about our methodology. So we bought about 10 devices on Amazon for a budget of £100 for each object. Top. Here is a list of images of a few we analyzed and a few we identified critical vulnerability on it. And here is a picture. And basically what we did was analyze each object and get as much possible as findings. To get us the possibility to classify each object depending on their security level. And the most critical findings, we exploited them and created demonstration that will show in the end of the presentation or in the middle. How do we assess an IoT security? So we're pen tester. Our main job is pen testing. So when we do pen test, we follow strict methodologies that could be synthesized really quickly into discovery phase, mapping phase, intrusion, and exploitation phase, where we exploit the vulnerability. This is kind of the same for the IoT assessments, except that in the discovery phase, we get information about the vendor, about the data sheets, about the mobile app. Yeah, basically any information we can gather that could help us assess the object. Then there is a mapping phase. So mapping phase is poking around the object on Bluetooth, Wi-Fi, Zigbee, ND protocol, but also on the hardware side. So not doing attack yet, but identifying what components are used, what chipset, so on, and also on the mobile application side. And intrusion phase, we do try to find vulnerability on the communication protocols, on the mobile app, on the IoT itself, hardware attacks, and then once we have something, once we have a finding, we try to exploit them in the last phase. Really quick one about the results obtained. So this is not the goal of the presentation. The goal is to show you live attacks on two devices, the breathalyser and the electro stimulator. But on each device we audited, there was never any use of encryption beside the one used on the Bluetooth, mainly in BLE, which we show you is not sufficient, or used poor or no authentication at all between the app of the device, so beside the one implemented with Bluetooth. almost all devices did not protect their mobile application codes, obfuscation, which helps protecting against attacker understanding what they do. And yeah, sensitive information. So basically, we're talking about healthcare IoTs. So they store sensitive information because they are patient data. Then almost never stored securely on the device, meaning that if you get your mobile phone to be stolen, someone may be able to get the result back. Or maybe you could think of side app attacks, one app, malicious app, trying to steal data from other one. Yeah, let's go talk about the case studies. So I'm gonna first, for each object, I'm gonna introduce what they do, how they're used, and then how we were able to attack them, and the main findings. So the breathalyser is meant to take alcohol measures, alcohol level measures. So it's quite straightforward. Its use, you pair it with the mobile app, then you ask the mobile app asks the device to start it, to preheat it. Then the user is asked to blow in it, and the result is shown on the phone screen. Okay, so the device uses the BLE protocol to communicate. As we said, there is no protection algorithm, protection protocol on top of it, so it relies only on BLE to secure the communication. And it's bi-directional communication, so the mobile app asks the IoT to do something, then the IoT says that it has done this thing and asks for something else, and so on. And what are the risks tampering with the results? So imagine during a police control, if you're able to spoof the results and make it look like you are drunk when you're sober, and vice versa, then this could be interesting for an attacker. And also medical data theft, so alcohol data theft. What are the tools we use? So we use many different tools on frameworks. But the main one we used and that are interesting for in this case are BeetleJack, written by a French researcher named Virtual Labs Damien Coquille, and it helps us a lot because, especially for the sniffing parts, because we're able to sniff the Bluetooth packets, and then that enabled us to understand the protocol on top of Bluetooth. Yeah, basically to be able to understand what type of packet is sent for each action, and what value in that packet are meant to be the alcohol level or the request parameter, and so on. And you probably don't know about that tool. So that tool is named Blex, and it's an internal written tool by Alexandre, one of the pen tester of my team, and it enabled us to clone a device, to clone a slave, an IoT, to make it look like, to attack the mobile apps, to make it look like it's connected to the real IoT, but to send fake results. Okay, so what was our methodology when we tackled this breathalyser? First, understand how the device speaks to the master on top of Bluetooth. Find a way to sniff, hijack the communication, and once everything is known, clone the device, jam the existing communication between the legacy app and the IoT, and yield fake results on the mobile phone screen. What was the result of our methodology? So BLE, the protocol on top of BLE is in clear text, so no need to play with encryption or something. So this enabled us to first see the data firsthand, and also to tamper with it easily. Sniffing is possible through BeetleJack, but not hijacking for some reasons. Even though hijacking is supported by BeetleJack, it did not work on that device. But anyway, it's possible to jam the signal, and it's possible to jam the signal and take over, basically. And then cloning the device So scan the device for all its services. Like when you're doing a network scan with Nmap on the TCP stack, you can do the same thing with Bluetooth. Scan what services are offered by the IoT. Just get the results in, create a file that you feed to Blex, which is our tool, and we can then fake and clone a device. I think this time for the live demonstration. So we have pre-recorded the demonstration for many reasons. The first one is that when you do live demonstration, full live demonstration, it takes time. So we don't want to waste your time probably manipulating. And it's easier for me to talk as well around the video instead of doing manipulating on one side and talking after that. So it's more fluent. And yeah. So let's start. Here is I'm just going to explain the layout really quickly. So on the right, there is a mobile app, okay, the victim. On the upper left, there is the video with the breathalyser, Raspberry Pi, which is used for our attack. So we are connecting, actually, the attacker is connected to the Raspberry Pi. And there is a microbit here just to show you how it goes, and because, yeah, we have used BetelJack for the attack. So, and on the lower left, there is our attacker shell terminal. Okay, so we are jamming the signal now. We see that we won't touch the breathalyser at all. Okay, so the user is having his connection jammed, so he's scanning for new devices. We'll create one with Blex. We see, okay, we have cloned the device by selecting the name of the device that we've recorded by scanning it, and then we've created it. The mobile app immediately sees it, and yeah, this is a kind of authentication that is done for BLE, so 6-0. Okay, let's pair with it. So the victim is thinking that it's connecting to the breathalyser, but it's connecting indeed to our Raspberry Pi. And then we see from Blex that we have here new clients with address something has been accepted. So this is the victim. And we see a list of available actions from that we've reverse engineering based on the communication. So it's not written as is, but we have recorded each action, each packet, and mapped each packet with its corresponding action. So we see 6 actions, sorry, and we'll go make the full exchange. So from the mobile side, we have a start test button. So we're going to show the mobile app. We're going to show the phone and click on start test, requesting a breathalyser test. Okay. Then the Blex tool will have an action. It will be asked for action. So we say, okay, init BLE, init the communication, and then warm up, so preheating. And the mobile app gets the preheating request and start doing the countdown. And then we'll ask the user to start blowing. So we will blow in his breathalyser, the real one, without thinking that it's not actually used, but and we'll be able to send our own results. We send an analysis data request, and then we finished with a really high alcohol level, completely against the law, that we artificially put on the mobile app. Okay, so in that demo, we've been able to show that it's possible to tamper with actual data. We chose to do it manually to show you each step one by one, but of course this can be automated so it's more fluent and the user can think that is actually connected with a real breathalyser, but is not. Okay, I think we can switch to the next object, which is an electrostimulator. And this electrostimulator is, we will show an opposite attack. So instead of targeting the mobile app, the master, we'll target the slave. So, and we show that it's possible to connect, to hijack the existing connection and connect on the electrostimulator to remotely control it. So okay, so this is a beast. We will see it in action in the video. So its use is really straightforward at all. You put it on your muscles, so on your biceps, for instance. On the demo, I put it on my hand because it's less painful. But if you put it on your biceps, it will start stimulating this muscle or do massage. Its use is quite straightforward. You can control the strength. You can control the time, the timer, the stimulation length, the frequency, start, stop, this kind of stuff. It also uses BLE protocol to communicate. So exactly the same. We use exactly the same methodology as for the breathalyser, except that in that case, we'll not be cloning the device. We will jam an existing connection and then connect to the device and induce something. And yeah, sensitive action on the device, because in that case, this device gives electrostimulation. So we try to modify that object, that action, to make it a bit more annoying and maybe painful. So the risks are tampering with the device use, so harassment, or remote activation, deactivation for battery depletion. But of course, you can imagine that in that case, we just wanted to take an object that is quite safe to use, but we could imagine that other healthcare IoTs with more critical functionalities, the same kind of attack could be imagined. Okay, so let's switch to the demo. All right. See, you can see the screen. So the layout is kind of the same. Mobile app on the right, the object on my hands, and this is a microbit cluster regarding the use of BetaJack, but we will not use it here. So we've called the tool châtaigne, which means chestnut, but in French it also means electric discharge. So you will see why. We show the use of the standard application. So you set up a specific type of massage, type of stimulation. You change the strength to from 1 to 10 on a 1 to 10 scale. You configure the time you want the stimulation to last. So top maximum is 15 minutes. In that case, it's 9 minutes. So in that case, we connected to the device, and yeah, we can see that at the 10 level, it's already high, and my hands start moving because it's getting annoying a bit. And yeah, we'll simulate what happens when we jam the signal and basically take over. So now the communication between the mobile app and the electrostimulator is no more, does not exist anymore, and we will see that we are gonna. So I need my hand to type my password. Sorry. Okay, I'm just gonna pause really quickly because it actually goes really fast. Okay, so we can see here that it scans for the discovery protocol of BLE. So BLE has two modes, discovery mode and connected mode. Since the electrostimulator is disconnected from the mobile app, it now looks for other masters. And we can see that, okay, we found it based on its address and its functionalities. Okay, it found it. Then it's gonna send 8 commands that we've reverse engineered, understanding the protocol, and then it bursts. And yeah, it actually is painful in the end, but on the biceps, it's really awful. We did it. We did not have problem finding guinea pigs at the beginning of the research. In the end, nobody wanted to be guinea pigs for that, or they put it on the end or a part which is not painful. Okay, so in that part we've seen that interesting parts. If there are, I don't know, 5 or 10 of this device in the area, it will send a discharge to all of them at the same time. So this is actually possible. Okay, we can switch back to the conclusion. I think it's been 25 minutes, so we're gonna go really quickly with the conclusions for you to have time for a bit of question round. You can start typing your question now on the question part of the GoToWebinar clients, and I will start answering them in the orders. So yeah, conclusion slides. Of course, the countermeasures exist to avoid these risks. So implement systematic encryption on top of Bluetooth BLE, because relying on that only call is not sufficient, definitely. Which is less mature. Tools are actually existing and becoming more efficient, and also authenticate each device, each IoT device with the mobile app. With certificates, I won't say no, because yeah, we are SSL 24/7. Our main activity is selling certificates, but yeah, there are other ways as well. But yeah, just the idea is to authenticate each device, so it's not possible to rely on 6.0 to authenticate each device. And the cloning possibilities is erased. In the future, interesting to mention that the next Bluetooth version, the next BLE version, will increase the radio frequency range up to 10 to 20 times what's the last versions, okay, 4.2. So on basically the scale, we go from local, from a room to a block. So this could be interesting for attackers targeting more people at the same time, especially if they use specific hardware, antennas, and so on. So they could target even more. Connected medical device. When we started the research, we thought that it was, yeah, you can buy this kind of thing on Amazon and only individuals use it. But after speaking to many hospital professionals and private clinic, they actually people implementing programs to replace standards measure medical object by connected object, so it can be smoother for the medical analysis. And yeah, so that means that this research also applies to the professional field, not only individuals. And regulation are coming. So in the EU, it will be 2020 with a regulation on health objects generally, but also smart connected objects with strict specification on the security level. And in the US as well, measures are coming. Okay, so I think it's time for question. Would you consider releasing Blex, which is an internal tool? Yes, we do. We just are waiting. So we have a version that works on Raspberry Pi and on standard laptop. We want to port it on an ESP, so it's more portable, and ESP costs, I think, 10 pounds. So on cheap devices to be able to do the simpler implementation, and we want to add functionalities to it to be more like a framework instead of just a cloning facility. So yes, we'll be releasing it. On the roadmap, it's in the end of the year. Have you tried hacking in wearable activity counters? Smart. We actually bought a really cheap one on Amazon. I think it was 30 euros, and yeah, but we were only able to gather the data about contacts, SMS, this kind of thing, but it did not do health measures. So I don't know if it's related to this research, but what we did with the smartwatch, we can probably do it with a wearable like Fitbit object. And in the past, I know that there have been research on Fitbit, for instance, that is publicly was publicly announced. Another question: is that also at risk? And how can we? Okay, so is that also a risk? And how can we encrypt such device both online? And how can we check if there is encryption? So from the same person. So the way to check if there is encryption is, so maybe it will be stated on the website but yeah, you only believe what you see with your eyes. So yeah, the idea, I think the easiest way is to use your mobile phone to put it in development mode. And there is a feature that allows to capture Bluetooth traffic and export it to Wireshark, so you can start watching what Wireshark packets, what Bluetooth packets flows between your IoT object and your phone. And then you can see if it's encrypted. If you start to see readable text or readable value, you can infer that it's not encrypted. And how can we encrypt? Each vendor needs to use either a specific framework made for that or implement their own encryption based on standard algorithms. So don't invent your own crypto, but instead use legacy one, a mature one, RSA. For the symmetric encryption, use AES, and yeah, don't do your own crypto, but implement encryption on top of each BLE. Are Chinese brands such as Huawei or Xiaomi Band 3 or upcoming Band 4 more at risk? I guess compared to other vendors, I wouldn't say. We actually didn't compare based on the nationality of the vendor, but I know that the research has been published on Xiaomi material, whether it be the band, whether it be the scooter, and there have been vulnerability disclosed publicly around Xiaomi. Okay. Thank you very much for your question and your attention. I think it's time to end that webinar. What can I say? There will be a new upcoming webinar in the same idea, meaning showing added value, showing research, and it will be in the end of July, beginning of August, the next webinar, and you will receive a mail regarding that announce. So thank you for listening and have a good afternoon.